Well, hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of the T&T Podcast. As always, it's your boy Tyler Layfield, joined by my co-host Torres Fanny. Torres, how's it going, man?
How you doing today, brother? Hey, happy to be here once again. I'm excited and can't wait to get to the show. We were like what a week removed. We definitely getting
Yeah,
back into the groove of things. So I'm excited.
yeah, man. Week removed from Super Bowl, and we got some stuff to get into here, obviously, of how these teams got here, and how we think this thing's going to play out. Yeah, I don't know. What's your plans for Super Bowl? Where are you going?
I'm probably gonna watch it with some of my old football teammates. Some of them guys from UTC. We watched the last few weeks all together, the wild card, divisional, conference championship. So now we're probably gonna watch Super Bowl together. So yeah,
Nice.
this is part of like every year. This is usually my favorite time of the year. I love the NFL playoffs, man. That's one of the things. I grew up growing up. Like I would go to church, and we're all amongst the deacons and the trustees and my granddad, and we're all arguing back and forth who we think will win this game and reason why. And yeah, these are amongst the best times of the year for me. So I love the NFL
Yeah.
playoffs. Yeah, it's coming.
I'll be at a wedding reception. My one of my best friends, Daniel Hall, actually got married today. Got married to Ellie Parrish out there. They went to Vegas, got married,
Yeah,
and we're gonna be celebrating them next week. And
that's
the little
awesome.
after party is gonna be Super Bowl watch party. So I'm excited. Congratulations to them both. Love you guys, and we're looking forward to it. So, how these two teams got to this point? Let's go ahead and break this down, man. AFC Championship recap, and yeah, I was able to catch a good little bit of this. I was trying to keep up with it while I was on the road back from an out of town trip, so I was able to catch a good bit of the first half. Was a little spotty on the reception on the beginning of the second half, but man, it was just frustrating. Frustrating is how I would kind of describe this one as far as somebody that was kind of like we mentioned in the preview show for the AFC Championship and NFC Championship. I was rooting for the Ravens, and it probably isn't the same reason that everybody else does, just because they hate Taylor Swift or whatever. I actually kind of wanted to see the Ravens, move on. I don't know. It's not a hatred toward the Chiefs, in my opinion. For my thing, I could, you know me with the NFL, I could care less about the pomp and frill of the different teams and everything. It's mainly just to see the Ravens go, and then I've got some friends that are big Ravens fans, so I wanted to see them be happy, have a little happy ending. But man, just some frustration on their offensive end. Man, 17-10 was the final score. Chiefs beating the Ravens. And it felt like every time there was a chance for the Ravens to really get back in this one, there was just a mistake that happened. So, like, what was it? The Zay Flowers right there on the goal line, fumbling it in. That obviously was a real swift kick to the nuts of the Ravens team. And then toward the end, Lamar throwing into double, triple coverage, trying to go for Isaiah Likely and just ending it. Just frustrating, man. Just the offense was not clicking, and I think you kind of laid it out perfectly in the preview, man. If you turn this not as to a Lamar hit piece here, because I really do think Lamar's a great player, but the way that the Chiefs played the Ravens, they were able to force him to make those mistakes, and obviously the Zay Flowers thing wasn't his fault, but just didn't play out the way the Ravens needed it to. So once again, here we are, the resilient Kansas City Chiefs with Andy Reid, and Patrick Mahomes, and Travis Kelce. Here they are again. So, yep, that's how what I saw from here. What about you?
Well, it's funny because I'm one game away from having back-to-back years Super Bowl predictions correct. As crazy as it sounds,
Man,
like they say, it's not too hard to when you're picking the best teams. But I told people until proven otherwise,
it's true.
don't bet against Patrick Mahomes. This Kansas City Chiefs teams, as I said before the playoffs even started, this was the best team defensively that the Ravens could possibly see throughout the entire playoffs. I said there was only one team that the Ravens did not want to see throughout this playoffs. One team, it was the Kansas City Chiefs. I thought this was the only team that could beat the Ravens. I thought the Ravens could beat the Bills. I thought the Ravens, obviously, they beat the Texans. Anybody else that was amongst the other, I obviously saw the Ravens beating them. But it's the way the Chiefs have speed on the outside to be able to contain Lamar, and they have guys that can cover on the back end. This is the
Yeah,
best defense that the Chiefs has had in the entire Mahomes era. Now, granted,
it certainly
it's
feels that way.
probably the worst offense that he has had. But
Yeah,
crazy to say, guess what? When it matters most, these guys come to play. I told people do not sleep on Mahomes only because of that reason. It doesn't shock me seeing them back in the Super Bowl again, mainly because I've seen this story too many times. I've seen it enough with Tom Brady. I don't know why anybody's like surprised. You go on the road. Everybody thought, I ain't gonna lie to you, it was so much in the favor of the Ravens till it was pitiful. At home, that crowd was on another level. That defense, they had a historic defense.
Great defense.
You had the MVP at quarterback. What did everybody used to say about Lamar? He ain't got the weapons. He don't have weapons. So that's the reason why he struggles. Well, okay, we went and got your offensive coordinator out of Todd Monken.
Yeah.
And we went and got you a bunch of weapons. Yeah, Odell Beckham had a lot of good receivers. Zay Flowers. Your tight end even came back in that game. Mark Andrews. You had one defense in the NFL. How you come up short?
Where would you rank his weapons at, though? I don't know, because I'm not willing to say they went out and got the craziest of weapons. Like Zay Flowers, he's a rookie. He has been great. I have loved what I've seen from Zay Flowers, but he is a rookie. Likely has looked pretty good. Mark Andrews, he was great until he got hurt, and sure, he helped out in this game. I guess a tad. I can't remember. I have to look up the stat line here, but I'm not right there on that level, though, as far as we surrounded him with a ton of weapons. I do think the offensive mind of Todd Monken behind him did help. But where would you rank these weapons at? Because I don't see them as being world beaters out there. I mean, yeah, I do think he's a good quarterback. I do think he could have had a good complementary piece and a good running back. I mean, Hill and Edwards are okay. It would be nice. I know a lot of Ravens fans are out there wishing that they could go and get Derrick Henry in the offseason. That would be pretty crazy to see. But as far as like the receiving options, Zay Flowers, he had 5 for 115 and a touchdown this one. Next best receiver you had in this game was Nelson Aguilar with 1 catch for 39 yards. Odell Beckham, 3 for 22. Isaiah Likely, 2 for 16. Mark Andrews, 2 for 15. Rashad Bateman, 1 for 2. That's what you're looking like wide receiver and tight end wise. I don't know quite where this surrounding him with weapons kind of narrative came out. What do you think about that?
Well, the reason why I say that, because when Lamar Jackson won the MVP in 2019.
He did.
And he lost to the Titans. The first thing everybody said that he did not have enough weapons. He carried a really bad team to the playoffs, even though they had an number 1 seed then. They made a case that Lamar Jackson had to deal with a lot of things that he never usually had. All week long, leading up to that championship week, all I heard was, this is a completely different Ravens team. This is the most complete Ravens team they probably ever had in their history. This is the best weapons-wise. He actually got receivers that can catch. Because last time I heard, when he won MVP the first time, all he was doing is throwing the tight ends. That's all I heard. He was only throwing the tight ends. Now he got receivers he can throw to. Okay, I'm just running the narrative that was used. All right. So now since he got receivers that he can throw to, now he's got a more extensive running game. Now that he got still really good tight ends, he got the number 1 defense. Where are the excuses now? And the game was at home.
I do agree with the home thing. I'm not looking at this offense and saying, man, this is a class of world beaters here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd much rather have the Tyreek Hills and Jalen Waddles of the world, or you know what I'm saying? Like, I'd love to go.
I agree. But
should I take like a Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, even though Mike Williams is already hurt, and whoever else they got out there, and the Chargers. I don't think this is a great receiving core.
Well, see, this is the thing that you have to recognize when you're playing a Lamar Jackson type offense. Lamar Jackson is going to be looking to throw for 400, 500, 300, 400 yards. All right. He's not going to be looking to be throwing a whole bunch of touchdowns. All right. A lot of these things are going to be utilized with his legs. One of these things these receivers are going to understand when you're going and playing in Baltimore is your number's going to go down dramatically. So there's not going to be.
So it's a matter of if they want to buy into that or not.
Exactly. You're not going to see a lot of 1,000 receiving yard receivers in playing in that offense. All right. They're going to be around the 500, 600 yard range. Their numbers doesn't equate to how good these guys really are. Because I still feel like Odell Beckham still if he was with the right quarterback, he can still put up some numbers. Probably not 1,000 yards per se.
No.
You could put up some solid numbers. Like for this season, let me see. This season, this season was solid for him. Especially he had 565 yards, 3 touchdowns, 35 catches. Especially in the offense with him
coming off an injury as well from ACL.
I mean, that's a contributing thing towards offense.
They contributed, yeah.
The problem in this game, Lamar Jackson came into this game trying to pass the ball. I don't know what game plan that Tom Monken came up with, but trying to force this guy exactly what I said the last
forcing it downfield too, just forcing it downfield.
Exactly. I said the only way the Chiefs win this game, you have to force Lamar Jackson to throw.
Yeah.
The reason why I see this, because I see it when he plays the Steelers every time. Mike Tomlin makes this guy throw the ball. When he throws, we beat him. Because guess what? He don't score many points against the Steelers. He struggled against, we beat them 17-10 this year when he played. That was the score. Not surprised. Guess what he did a lot in that game? He threw the ball a lot. I knew that this is what the Chiefs were going to make him do. And if you go into this game, Lamar Jackson with if Todd Monken probably went in with the mindset, hey, Lamar, hey, we're going to show these boys you're more than just a runner. And then you try to compete against a guy on the opposite side that started the game out hot, like Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey. Those boys started that game out hot. Like those boys were on fire.
They did. Did you see the pregame stuff too with Justin Tucker?
I did.
It was funny. I thought that was a nice little wrinkle to throw into the thing. So
it was funny because everybody was like, "Oh, you're making the Ravens mad. They're gonna play harder." And I'm like, "Yo, these." Dude, it was so funny to see like the disappointment in so many people because so many people really thought the Ravens was gonna win. And I'm like, y'all really don't understand.
Yeah, I think it's more hope than anything. Like it. And I get like this with college football, which Georgia and everything. It's more of an emotional type thing. You go with. It's not as much of a logical reasoning behind things, and I don't know. A lot of people let that get behind them. They let the hatred of the Chiefs and the Taylor Swift and all that really cloud their mind to actually making good logical choices. I feel.
Well, you have to also remember, for one, compared to like a Georgia, they have chances to beat Alabama. The problem is we continue to lose close games. That becomes disheartening. That's very similar to like the Bills and the Chiefs. The Bills play the Chiefs almost every year in the playoffs. And it comes down to what? A last-second play, some type of foolishness at the end. All right? It's not a play here and there is not too far-fetched from the Bills beating the Chiefs those other 3 times they'll play. But the same team keep winning. So it brings you away from that. All right, this is the first time Lamar in Kansas City, but also this is it was the second game Patrick Mahomes ever played on the road in the playoffs, but it was his first AFC Championship game on the road. Everybody said, all right, this is where you start putting yourself in the ranks with Tom Brady and all of these other cats, all right, by going on the road and beating Baltimore. What did exactly did he this was a game that was so set up for Lamar to win. It wasn't even funny. Like they were supposed to win this game. The worst offense in the Mahomes era. This is one of the worst Chiefs teams in the Andy Reid era. Overall, the receivers had an awful regular season, which I told people do not.
And it's so funny how things have turned around too.
And things have turned around completely.
You got Marquez Valdez-Scantling being the joke of the NFL in week 1 when he was dropping all the passes and stuff, and then
the Eagles and
all of a sudden, I think it was to seal the game in this one. He made the game sealing catch. So I was like, how ironic, man.
I'm not surprised, man, because those receivers turning on. I've seen it like I said, I've seen it being a Steelers fan and you watch Tom Brady in New England a lot. I've seen it too many times, multiple seasons, where the receivers during regular season, Tom Brady go 11-5, receivers look awful, Grunt don't look as good. Everybody say, oh, they're not gonna be that good this year. And then they go and win the Super Bowl. I've seen this story too many times. So it doesn't surprise me. That's why I said y'all crazy to pick against the Chiefs. Like, I know they didn't look good in the regular season, but you got a Hall of Fame quarterback, Hall of Fame head coach, Hall of Fame tight end, number 2 defense in the whole NFL, and you gonna bet against that? Oh,
yeah,
man, you gotta be crazy.
Crazy is correct. So, so we talked about that game and who's moving on. Chiefs moving on. Let's dive into this one. NFC Championship game. This one, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I went to bed at half. I thought this one was pretty wrapped up. I'm not gonna lie to you. I did. I was like, this one ain't really worth it. I got a long week ahead of me. I'm just gonna go to bed. Like that's how I wrap this one up. And what was it? What was the score at half? Let's see. What was
24-7.
24-7. It was not looking pretty, man. It was not looking pretty. Or was it 24-10? Which one was it?
It was 24-7 at halftime.
There you go. Yeah, you're right. You're right. So 24-7. And I was just looking at it. The 49ers just weren't clicking, man. And I ended up watching the highlights the next day. I woke up to the score. So how'd that happen? So going through it, you take me through it since I'm assuming you watched all of it.
I did.
Let's hear about it, man. Go ahead. Take me through it because I already saw about the Josh Reynolds stuff. And yes, that did play a part. The Jahmyr Gibbs fumble. Yes, it did play a part. It was an ultimate collapse, though.
To start the game for one, the Lions started out hot. I was at a wrestling tournament during the first half, but I was keeping up with it in between it. And man, keeping up with the whole thing. And my friend Austin, I've been watching the games with the past few weeks. He told me, I said, I'm on the way over here to your house because we all watch at his house. He said, man, ain't no reason to come over here. The game's over. I said, it's the 49ers. With all those weapons, you think the game is over? He literally said, don't worry about coming over here. I said, I'm still coming, dude. So I come over there. I see it's 24-10. Walk in, and I'm walking in, and I see the third down play. And then I'm like, oh, man, the Lions about to get a field goal. And then I see, oh, no, he's about to go for it.
Go for it, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is going to be interesting. And Josh Reynolds drops the ball. Mm-hmm. And then you see one of the luckiest plays that you could ever see for a team. The ball bounces off his forehead, and he catches it. Brandon Ayuk. And I'm sitting here like, oh, man. And they scored like a few plays later right after that. And I'm like, oh, it's 24-17. And then Gibbs, the next opening drives, fumbled the ball. And then they got the ball to score again. And I was like, oh, crap. And then I told you, Austin, game went over. Like, the thing is, 49ers team with this many weapons. I know a lot of people, I've been hearing a lot of hate on, oh my gosh, it's so bad. I can't think of his name right now. Quarterback.
Brock Purdy.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of hate on Brock Purdy. But man, these last two playoff games, when he's had to step up, guess what he's been doing? The boys been stepping up. Now, granted, the defense been getting more opportunities. These weapons with Christian McCaffrey and Debo and Kittle and you name it, they Brandon Ayuk, they got it. He's been having help. But boy, these Niners have been playing. Brock Purdy has been playing. He deserves his respect. Now, I don't know about all this. Is he elite stuff? I can lean and say he is a little bit of a game manager. I'm going to say that, but I will say he's a really good. See, well, people forget Peyton Manning was a game manager.
Tom Brady
was a game manager.
Yeah.
So if you want to
Party can actually run a little bit too now.
And Party can run.
He can actually run a little bit
in that game. So I'm not going to sit here and act like he's not the reason why this team is where it is. Because I said this last year. I'm the one. I did pick the 49ers to beat Eagles last year. I said this. If Purdy was healthy, I felt like they would have won the game. He's healthy this year. They're back in the Super Bowl. He went to back-to-back NFC Championship games. What can you say about that? Obviously, he must be some sort of piece because Jimmy Garoppolo got him the back-to-back NFC Championship game and got him to the Super Bowl. So Jimmy Garoppolo did the same stuff. But Purdy brings a different feel to this team. And we'll get a chance to see in the Super Bowl whether or not is he going to be able to finish the story.
Mm-hmm. It'd be a neat narrative. So let's dive on into the Super Bowl preview. Any last things you wanted to touch on with the NFC Championship recap?
I'm just going to say that I know a lot of people have been blaming the Lions' loss on the head coach, and I do a little bit agree with that. But you have to also remember the Lions have been a team all year long that has been going for it on fourth down in their own side. They have been one of those gutsy teams throughout the entire season. People loved them when it worked. It worked a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It did. They got a huge lead in this game. I feel like there's certain times where you need to take the points. Don't overthink the situation. And I feel like that's a problem with a lot of head coaches. Sometimes they overthink it. Now, granted, if they've been working all year long, guess what? You don't fix it. They've been going for it in those type of situations all year long. I can't get mad at them. But those with guaranteed points and not necessarily guaranteed, but those
not guaranteed, but close to it.
Yeah, like you got to take those field goals because points in the playoffs are hard to come by, especially in big games. Points in big games are hard to come by, so do not take them for granted. Don't be like, oh, well, we'll get another opportunity. No, you don't know that for sure, for real. Like we've seen that so many times. Like literally, Falcons, Patriots. I mean, I can go name a bunch of games. Bills and Oilers back in the day, the Houston Oilers when they was up 35-3. You can't necessarily say, "Oh, I'm gonna get another opportunity," because when the Oilers went up 35-3, Bills never once again, the Oilers never once again crossed their own 50 for like the majority part of the game. So the game got tied. So you can't necessarily just guarantee yourself points. You gotta take the points when you get a chance, because you might not get a chance to get back. But yeah, man, very disheartening loss from the Lions.
Yeah, sucks for the Lions on their end of things. So, Super Bowl preview, we got the 49ers, we got the Chiefs, and let's go ahead and look at that line. I think when I first looked at it, I believe it's still the 49ers are still favored in this one, and they came out as the favorites. Right now, they're 1.5-point favorites over the Chiefs. This one's being played in Vegas. Usher will be doing the halftime show if you care about that kind of thing. So that it should be pretty good. I don't know. I watch them. I tune into it. My wife's happy about it, so think she'll like it. Right now, the key injuries to look at here are Jarrett McKinnon. I don't think he's going to be back. He could be. And then the big one really for the Chiefs is Joe Tooney, the guard, the offensive guard. That they got good offensive guard that they have. And obviously that's big because, going against the 49ers, not that the Ravens weren't any, slouch, but 49ers got a pretty good defensive line. So, that could play a part here. Not really anything big on the 49ers end of things. Debo's back. He was back for this last game. Things seem to be going pretty good here. Let's see. So Chiefs obviously are, they're the underdog here, which is still baffling to me. I think that's just ridiculous.
Underdog 3 straight games.
Yeah, I don't know when people are going to start catching on, man, because it just don't make any sense. I feel like it should definitely be the other way around. I don't know how this is happening, and it's I don't know if you're the Chiefs. This is like Nick Saban, quoting the great Nick Saban. This is some yummy rat poison, before the big game. I don't understand it, man. I don't understand this. To go ahead and give you my prediction at this one, I do think this one could be pretty good. It would be cool if Brock Purdy were to come out and have a crazy game where he becomes, he has his moment to where he becomes like a legend. He becomes like a guy that's I've got next kind of thing. But I just don't see it happening against this Chiefs defense. I really like what I've seen. You talked about him, like it's one of the best Chiefs defenses we've seen in the Patrick Mahomes era. Good defensive line, good linebacker play, great defensive back play, especially on the corners. The corners have just been locked down, just amazing. And really coming up, what I think really the 49ers are going to do, they're going to have to be able to establish the run. And they very well might be able to do that. They could get that going, but Christian McCaffrey's going to have to play a big role in this one, I feel like, if they're going to win this game. Don't get me wrong, they'll be able to scheme some stuff up to get their guys open just like they normally do, but establish the run early. You can play off of it with play action pass, which they really like to do. Don't get me wrong, they know this, they want to do this, but I feel like for them to be successful, they have to go out there and show that they can push them back, they can push the Chiefs back, they can get yards on the ground, and then from there they can set up anything else they want to do. Of course, they're going to have the ball fall their way a couple of times and some crazy things, kind of like the IU catch or something like that. If you're going to beat the Chiefs, something's got to happen like that. You got to have those fluky plays. In fact, that happens in the Super Bowl a lot. The Santonio Holmes catch, the David Tyree catch, all these different crazy things, the Edelman catch on the ankle, all these kinds of things. Like, so we see stuff like this throughout the years, and I wouldn't be shocked if we see another one. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I would like to see it happen. I just don't believe it's going to happen again. Just similar to, like I said, with the Ravens, man, it'd be cool. I'm just not getting my hopes up. You got to go. You can't bet against the dude. I have a feeling you're going to end up saying the same thing, man, here, but you can't bet against the dude. There's too much money to be made. I'm not trying to go conspiracy on everybody right here, but there's too much money to be made for the NFL and all of them if the Chiefs do win. So there's plenty of incentive for this to actually go through. But yeah, man, I'm picking the Chiefs, especially if you're going to give me 1.5 to go with it. Why not? Why not? I think you're stupid not to. So that's where I'm going with here.
So I'm gonna ask you this.
We'll get to that question later, Colby. I see you in there. We're gonna get to that one here in a little bit.
I see the question too. So I'm gonna ask you this: if the Chiefs, all right, you think a Chiefs team that has been battle tested, been on the road multiple games, going to Vegas. This is another great team. Don't get me wrong. The 49ers is a really, really good team. 49ers have been down in every game, even though they've been at home both games. They've come on the brink of almost losing, and yet they're the favorites against the Chiefs. Even though it was a point and a half, because it did open up at 2.5. And at one point last week, it went to 3.5, then it went right back down to 1.5. For some reason, I don't know why.
Yeah, you said it started off at what?
2.5.
2.5.
Then it went to 3.5, and then it went right back down to 1.5.
Yeah, so people were buying the points, which is totally reasonable.
That's what I'm saying, dude. See, this is what's funny to me.
Somebody just got free money.
Look, I'm not big into that conspiracy stuff, but I understand business and I understand how the money stuff works, man.
You've done sent me some statistics just to show how much this crap is worth. And
I'm telling you, $331 million Taylor Swift has generated for the NFL and the Kansas City Chiefs. You're telling me that's not huge?
Biggest stage.
That don't matter? Oh, you crazy.
Most watched sporting event in the U.S. and the world, or whatever maybe you could say. I don't know. Well, most as far as just a one-game thing, yeah.
When they played,
maybe one of those World Cup games is high,
when the Chiefs played the Dolphins
in America,
in the wild card game. You know, people had to pay to watch that game. 26 million people paid to watch on Peacock to watch the Chiefs play the Dolphins. 26 million. How many times? If you get the first time buyer, that's $9.99. That's $10. You know what, bro? Just to watch. That's the highest one on a streaming service for an NFL game in history. Oh, surprisingly, who did they show a lot in that game? Oh, who's in the Super Bowl this year? This isn't like this. This isn't foolish. This isn't new. Like, ever since she's been going to the games, the Chiefs' overall record is 9-3. Like, people love this stuff. The girls, this is one of the most profitable NFL seasons in the history of the NFL. The Swifties have been helping them out. Little white girls, they've done the statistics from the ages of 8 to 18 have watched football this year more than ever in the history of the game. Why? This ain't come on. Y'all gotta be crazy. Like, man, it's funny to me that it's not so blatant to your face that it's, I don't know. Like, Taylor Swift is a huge ambassador now for the NFL right now.
Yeah.
And you were crazy to think that they were going to be in the Super Bowl. I just knew that. I said, there's no way. There's no way they don't end up in it. But now, this is where the toss-up, because they already got in the game. So now.
Yeah. So now, it's not like the NFL necessarily needs them to win. But like you said, if this all is really what we could see it being, which is a money grab, then yeah, they got what they wanted. They got the team that has the affiliation with one of the biggest pop stars in the world on the biggest stage in the biggest sporting event in the United States of America. So yeah, they've accomplished what they want to accomplish.
And the thing is, I'm not mad at them showing
it's
like
smart.
30 seconds out of a game. Like, y'all, come on.
It ain't that big of a deal. It really ain't.
It's not.
I've been more mad at Dolly Parton. Like I've said, I've been mad more at Dolly Parton at a UGA Tennessee game than a freaking Taylor Swift at an NFL game, man. Shoot.
Oh, man. I definitely see. I know what you're talking about on that.
Missing plays. I don't want to miss plays, though. But you don't even miss plays when they show it, man. You don't even miss plays when they show it.
You don't want to miss plays. You're right about that. Yeah. But I will say, the way it's funny that we're talking about Taylor Swift because her boyfriend, Travis Kelce, this year playoff, my goodness.
He's been good.
He has been killing it. I mean, this has been one of his best years in the playoffs that we've seen in probably.
He turned it on at the right time.
He has turned it on at the right time. And I think that carries on in the Super Bowl. This 49ers defense has a lot of names to it. Don't get me wrong. They have the Nick Bosa.
Good linebackers to stick with him, too.
Chase Young. They do got really good linebackers with Fred Warner and all those cats. They have a really good team overall from start to finish. But looking at the 49ers, they haven't played collectively as good. This defense is, with a lot of names on it, with a lot of all-pro players they have on it, they haven't played as great as you would think collectively. They have given up some points here and there. I think this Chiefs team can definitely expose a lot of different things. I know a lot of people look at the regular season a lot and look at that and say, oh, the Chiefs struggled a lot. But, I mean, when they played the Eagles, they lost to them by 3. When they played the Raiders, they lost to them by 6. When they played a lot of their losses, when they played the Bills, they lost to them by 3 during the regular season. Like, they have lost a lot of the close games out of their 11-6. Out of their 6 losses, a lot of their losses come by some really, really close games. They've turned that around. They've learned how to play. Now they came to playoffs. They've won a bunch of these, both like the Bills and the Ravens game, both by 1 score. If this game gets close, who you betting on to perform? Now, granted, we've seen Brock Purdy perform with against the Lions and the Packers in a close game because he had to drop them down the field to win the game against the Packers. So we've seen Brock Purdy perform in the clutch situations. But if the game's on the line and the game, who you need to drive down the field to win the game, who defense are you going to trust? Which quarterback would you rather trust? And surprisingly not, in this game, the defense I'm trusting in this game, Kansas City Chiefs, and the quarterback that I'm trusting, Patrick Mahomes. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to go against this team yet in this Super Bowl. This game this is going to be a good game. That first time they played the Super Bowl was great, but the difference now between then and now, Mahomes, I tell people this, and I said this before. I know a lot of people used to say about Tyreek Hill leaving the Chiefs, and like, oh, Mahomes going to struggle. He ain't going to be. Well, he won the MVP the next year after Tyreek Hill won. And also won the Super Bowl and Super Bowl MVP.
Mm-hmm. And he's beat him.
Yeah. Now, this year, granted, he only threw 27 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. Don't look as sexy as his previous years. But Mahomes is a much smarter quarterback. You don't see him making these crazy throws like he used to. Now he's making much smarter throws. He still got Travis Kelce as the guy to, when I'm in trouble, I can still toss it to him. But that's okay to have one. He used to just throw it up to Tyreek because Tyreek would just run by everybody. He ain't got to do that anymore. He actually is dissecting the game. You remember when he won his first Super Bowl and he came out to the media and said, man, I was out there just playing backyard football. I wasn't reading the defense much. Now he is actually reading the defense. He looked much more composed. He looked like a veteran in the game when he's only been playing in the NFL for 7 years, only been a starter for 6 of them. So looking at this game, he's much better than when he played last time. And another factor that you also had to throw in, on the other side, Kyle Shanahan. I'm sorry. I love Kyle Shanahan.
It's got to be mentioned.
He is one of the most powerful, most potent offensive-minded guys in the history of football. But Lord, when it comes to the big game, he sure enough forgets what have got him there, boy. And he's done it twice in the Super Bowl. And again, until proven otherwise, there ain't nothing to make me switch and think he ain't going to do it again. Like, I'm sorry, man. Kyle Shanahan's a great offensive mind. I mean, anybody would love to have him on the team. But when the big games come, man, this boy, man, like, my gosh. Dude, he disappeared. Like, the play calling gets real crazy. Yeah. Like, when you have the number 1 rushing team in the NFL, the last Super Bowl against the Chiefs, and in the second half, you only run the ball 4 times? Are we crazy or are we drunk? Like, this don't make sense. You want to run it, and you up by 10 points, and you want to pin the ball in Jimmy Garoppolo's head, throwing it on every down? Are you what? Atlanta Falcons Patriots up 28-3. You had a running back that had an NFL record, the most yards per carry in Super Bowl history, and you only run him once in the second half. Like, again,
can't make it up.
You can't make this stuff up, man. Until proven otherwise, I can't side with Kyle Shanahan.
And once again, it's another reason why I just don't understand the line in this one. It don't make sense, man. It don't make sense.
It don't. That's why I'm taking the Chiefs in this one. I'm taking the Chiefs. I'm going to go 30-27. I think it's going to be a close game, but I still think the Chiefs pulls it out. I can see a final game-winning field goal. I wouldn't be surprised to see him win it definitively. But I'm going to go Chiefs 30-27.
I'm going to go 31-21, Chiefs.
Oh, 10 points.
Yeah, 10 point. I'll go with that. I feel pretty confident in it. I feel pretty confident, not in necessarily that score, but in the Chiefs winning. I will feel pretty good in that. So, we'll see how this one plays out. Next 1 week from today, It will be halftime by now. We might be watching Usher this time next week at this time. So, yeah, man, something to watch here. So we're about to dive into some coaching stuff here, but we did have a question pop in. Cousin Colby, off-topic question: what do the Falcons do about their QB situation? Justin Fields, Kirk, JD. So I'm trying to think about JD. Who is he? You know who he's thinking of there? Colby, if you're there, you can clarify that to us what the JD means. But I do see the Justin Fields and I see the Kirk stuff. From the looks of it, from what I think they're going to do, honestly, I don't think anybody can really honestly tell you.
Jaden Daniels.
Okay. Jaden Daniels. Good looks. I don't think anybody can honestly tell you what the Falcons are going to do with this, because if they do, they're lying. It's the Falcons. That's all you really got to say. Justin Fields, I don't think Justin Fields is going to be a legitimate option. I feel like the Bears are going to end up keeping him. That's just me. I think he did enough to kind of keep his spot at least, and I think he has enough backing in that locker room. I know that does sound a little crazy. I know he's had his ups and downs, but DJ Moore's got his back a lot. There's a lot of guys in that locker room that have his back. I think they're going to hang on to him, and I've heard reports out there that Caleb Williams does not want to be a Bear. And even though they have the number 1 pick, he still entered the draft. So
I'm not sold. Not sold.
Maybe on Justin Fields,
Caleb
Williams. I think the NFL is, though. I think he's pretty solid. He's pretty solid. We'll see how he plays out. I think he can be pretty good, but kind of like a Bryce Young. Like he can look as good as he can, and then if he ends up on the wrong team, it don't matter what you think. He's just going to suck, or it's just going to suck. So, but Kirk Cousins, I think his situation would have to be a trade, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I have to look at that. It would have to be a trade. Now, I don't know if that one's going to happen. I wouldn't put my money on it. Jaden Daniels, I think that's the most realistic of the 3 that you listed out there. Maybe he can make it to, what is it? Are the Falcons 8 or 9? I think that might be 9 this year's draft.
Yeah, I don't know their draft pick. I don't know.
It's either 8 or 9. He may make it that far. I don't even know. I mean, what are we going to see? Caleb Williams. We're going to see Drake May. We're going to see Michael Penix in that list. We're going to see Bo Nix in that list. Jay Daniels. Jay Daniels would probably be the 3rd one I would pick there, either 3rd or 4th between him and Penix. I think you're definitely going to see the first 2, Caleb Williams and Drake May. I think those are going to be the first 2, regardless of quarterbacks. I think they're going to be the first 2 quarterbacks picked up, and then you can make a case for him being the 3rd. And then I guess at that point you're looking at who are the teams ahead of them. Does anybody trade up above the Falcons to go snag one of them? I don't know.
I wish we would, but then we
Yeah. That's
get on the Steelers.
It would be nice for the Steelers to actually get a good quarterback. I think
we'll get to the Steelers eventually, because I am
yes,
sick.
and that's actually, hey, if you want to, while we're getting into coaching hires, here I'll just make a little thing up here, man. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith. Let me type this tab up for you. Arthur Smith to the Steelers. Let's talk about it, man. Let's have a venting sessions.
Dude, bro, Tyler. Let me tell you, so when Tyler sent me that off the back, I instantly was like, there's no way. There's just no, we just left Matt Canada. Yeah. And he was, there's no way we do this. We've been one of the best organizations that get coaches, drafting players that we've known amongst the NFL. I just couldn't see it happening. I said, no way. Oh, when I got that message on ESPN, it broke me down. All year long, what have I been talking about the Falcons? They have to let go of Arthur Smith. They need to fire him. His only success is that he was blessed to have Derrick Henry have nearly a 2,000-yard season and almost have one MVP.
Could this mean maybe Najee Harris has a good year this year?
God, get out of here. What he gonna do? Bro, did you not see the weapons he had in Atlanta? Boy, dude, I thought I lost it, dude. Bro, oh my goodness. This man had Kyle Pitts. This man had
Drake London.
Bijan
Robinson.
I mean, he had weapons. Atlanta probably had one of the best skill positions in the NFL throughout this season. Like, you
wouldn't have even known it based on the record.
You would have never known. I'm not saying they're number 1, number 2, but they're at least probably in the top.
They got a lot of potential.
They do have a lot of potential. If you have somebody know how to actually use them and not be stupid.
And we'll talk about that here in a minute on if you think this next guy will.
Oh my gosh. It broke my heart to see that, man. And we already struggle on offense. You're gonna go from Canada to giving Kenny Pickett, Arthur Smith. We don't even know who our quarterback gonna be next year. We don't know if it's gonna be Rudolph. We don't know it's gonna be the red-nosed reindeer. We don't know who it's gonna be. We don't know who it's gonna be. I'm sick of this. Like, our offense used to be amongst the best offense in the NFL. We had Ben, Le'Veon, Brown, all them boys. Jesse, bro, we had all them boys. And then now we're over here. I don't even know if our offense is gonna score 10 points in the game. We better be glad we have a great defense. Because what if our defense, we wouldn't even made the playoffs. We sorry. Like, the Steelers is a sorry NFL team. The only reason why we're good is because we stay in the middle of the pack because of our defense. Mike Tomlin is a phenomenal coach. He continues to keep getting these guys to winning. But can we please get something offensively to work? This defense is wasting their prime. TJ Watt is wasting his prime. This man
it does. I feel bad for him, honestly, on that.
He ain't gonna never get nothing. Ain't never won a playoff game in his career. That's crazy. Dude, this is sick.
It's sad. And I'm sure we got some Falcons fans that'll be listening in. If they're not listening already, they like prayers up for the Steelers. You go from Matt Canada to now Arthur Smith. You go from a guy that had the fans calling for his head to another guy that had the fans calling for his head. I mean, it's just like, man, there's no improvement there. I don't know. One of them has facial hair. I don't know. Did Matt Canada have facial hair? I don't even know.
Everybody said we're in a linear. We literally went in a linear direction.
It's nothing.
We didn't do nothing different.
It's like this, good.
Boy, I tell you. Then the Bengals gonna bring back Joe Burrow next year. Browns are only gonna get better. Ravens gonna still be good. How are we gonna continue to compete in this division?
Ravens have lost some coaches now. I will say that they have lost some coaches.
They lost
defense coordinator. I think they lost somebody else. I'll have to look here. But I think they lost another coach. But tell me about Raheem Morris to the Falcons. I've seen some mixed reviews on this dude. Like, some people are saying this is a good hire. Some people saying this is a bad hire. What are your thoughts here?
I'm not particularly sold on it yet. I do know he stepped in when Dan Quinn ironically got fired from the Falcons, and he took over the team and went 4-7 with whatever that team that was left over from Dan Quinn he had. Now, a lot of people thought he should have became the head coach then, but obviously the Atlanta didn't go that route. They went another route. Obviously, we see that they had Arthur Smith, so they went that route instead. But I don't necessarily think Raheem Morris is necessarily the key. Now, this is what I am going to say. I'm going to be open about this because you can get better over time. From 2009 to 2011 on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he went 21-39. All right. He had a team then. Then he went the head coach of the Falcons. Granted, it was an awful Falcons team. They were giving up leads left and right, but he was 4-7 with that team. All right. Now he is back. Went on the Rams, did some good things. Now he's back to the Falcons. The thing is, this Falcons team needs a lot of things to be rebuilt by. Like, I don't know what you're necessarily going to look for because there's only so many really great head coaches. A lot of these guys got to be built over time. And Raheem Morris, this is his second head coaching stint, so he could do better the second time, but it needs to be built over time. The quarterback situation right now for the Falcons are awful. We just talked about it. All right. They got a lot of weapons. They need to pick up some more pieces on the defense. Their defense is probably in the middle of the pack. It's so-so. All right. You have to get better defensively. Raheem, he's going to bring in a lot of defensive-minded stuff, but I think a lot of people from the Falcons wanted more of an offensive-minded coach. They thought with a lot of their weapons, they're not scoring points. These guys not doing that. I don't see Raheem Morris being the reason why you score more points. Now, he
did bring in the he was like an offensive coach he wasn't the coordinator, was he? But the Zach what's his name?
I'm about to look at
Zach
right
something. He just
Zach
came
Robinson.
in.
Zach Robinson, yes.
Yeah, Zach Robinson, who was what? Was he a QB coach or was he the offensive coordinator there?
Well, he's going to be offensive coordinator for Falcons, but I don't know what he was. Yeah, he was with the Rams. He was oh my gosh, what was he for the Rams?
Quarterbacks coach. Yeah, I see it right here. He was the So we'll see how that one goes. I can't really tell you much on these guys. That's the thing. Like, I'd love to give a good review. I'd love to give a good detailed analysis on both of them. But
and then they got Jimmy Luke to be the defensive coordinator. So,
and what do we know about him?
I'm sorry, Jimmy Lake.
Jimmy Lake. Oh yeah, he came from. He was once the head coach at Washington. I know that in college football. And he was just with somebody else. I can't remember.
Tampa Bay. He was defensive back coach in Tampa Bay for one season. He was with the Rams. I mean, dude, I don't know. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's like we got to see what this looks like on the field before we can even really give you a
This is a lot of first time coaching positions for a lot of these guys. First time offensive coordinator, first time defensive coordinator in the NFL. So Raheem has been an NFL head coach, but it's different now. He's on a different team. So we have to see, man. We have to see. I'm not sold on it. I'm not sold on it. But we got to see. We'll see.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we got Dan Quinn to the Commanders. That just happened. Dan Quinn, defensive coordinator from the Cowboys, one of the better defenses for a majority of the year there, at least. They were a high-scoring defense as far as, pick sixes and scooping scores. And, they had a really good start of the season, really good first half at least. And then it seems like it tailed off toward the end, obviously culminating in the epic collapse in the playoffs there against the Packers. They're scored on at will. Wasn't very pretty. So what do we see here with Dan Quinn to the Commanders? And now it's looking like they might get Cliff Kingsbury to be the offensive coordinator, by the way.
Which would be awesome for them guys. It really would be.
Have a good defensive-minded coach with a pretty good offensive-minded offensive coordinator. Right?
Yep.
That's a good pairing.
And where did we see that before? Oh, that's right. The Atlanta Falcons.
You're right. Shanahan and him.
I told people before he got fired, I know they had started the season off really bad, but I was not overly I was not done with Dan Quinn. I thought Dan Quinn was a good coach. I really did. I thought he was a really good defensive-minded coach. Granted, the Falcons defense had some so-so years, but he allowed the coaches to coach. And when Kyle Shanahan was there,
he had a great staff too. Like somebody shared the list of who I was on that staff. It was
right. The Packers head coach Matt LaFleur, the Rams head coach, what's his name?
McVay.
They had a lot of guys, man. They really did. They had a lot of guys on that staff, and people sleep on Dan Quinn. I thought Dan Quinn is a really good head coach. Now we're gonna see what he does for the Commanders. They got Sam Howell at quarterback. They got some really good offensive.
There'll be some changes made.
It will be, yeah. You bring in Cliff Kingsbury, I think he'll be really good to be able to make that offense work. I think he can definitely make that defense work. Dan Quinn can get those boys to play. I don't know. And then you gotta remember, you also remember when these head coaches go to these places, you have to remember what type of division they're playing in. Back on Raheem Forrest, I mean, besides what? Tampa, there ain't really nobody else in that division that is all really that good. I mean, you got the Saints, they all right, and then the Panthers.
Yeah, until they replace Derek Carr, I don't know if you can really believe in them. Yeah, I agree. Panthers, I don't really. I mean, I know the Panthers hired a guy for head coach, but I don't even feel like it's worth talking about. Like, I don't even know the dude.
No, me neither.
And I just don't want to talk about him.
When you're in this type of division, you probably, and you know what? And now thinking about it, you probably could have these first-time hires at these positions because it gives them a chance to start in a fresh area because the whole division is struggling. All right. And Quinn, on the other hand, he's a lot more experienced, but he just came from the Cowboys. The Cowboys ain't gonna be a bad team next. They're still gonna be good. All right. Giants got a solid team. All right. They had dealt with some injuries, but they're a really good, solid team. The year before, they made the playoffs and won a playoff game. All right. So this year they struggled.
This year was a struggle.
But they're still a solid team. And then you got the Eagles. Now it depends on which way they go, but I still ain't sleeping on the Eagles, man. They've been a really good football team for the past few years. So Eagles gonna be right there. So Dan Quinn, when he comes in, he has to make this work a little bit quicker than a guy like Raheem Morris because of that situation, because of what he's having to deal with. So I think Dan Quinn's going to get it right, and I think he's going to make sure he find the right pieces to work for the Commanders.
You're right. I think you're right there. And 23 minutes ago, Commanders hiring Kingsbury. So there you go. That's
wow. Look at that.
Yeah, it's like official. They were saying maybe to the Raiders at one point, and then that kind of fell through. So Pierce, by the way, Antonio Pierce getting the the Las Vegas Raiders head coaching job. I kind of like that hire. I thought he did a pretty good job with them when he took over midseason. The locker room really seemed to buy in behind him. So good hire there, at least in my opinion. Any other ones? Mike McDonald. We'll get to the big one here in a second. Mike McDonald from the Ravens, by the way, like you said, the defense coordinator, he's going to the Seahawks. So another defensive-minded guy heading that way. And by the way, another coach that the Ravens lost for is Anthony Weaver, I think is his name. Weaver. He's leaving. He was their assistant coach, assistant head coach, and he did something with the defense. He's now going to be the defensive coordinator for the Miami Dolphins. So some changes being made there as well. All right, so let's hit him with the big guns.
I got a question. So wait a minute now. So he just hired Cliff Kingsbury. What happened to Eric?
Bieniemy. I think who have they been saying that?
He's still. I remember him signing a 2-year. He should be like he was the offensive coordinator for the Washington.
So now they're obviously replacing him if they're bringing in Kingsbury. Just being honest. I mean, the writing's on the wall there, but he's been linked to somebody. Oh yeah, I think that the Raiders are looking at him, and then there might be one more.
I wouldn't sleep on that then, because I feel like he's a good coach. I do, man. I
don't mind him. But yeah, Vegas is looking at him. There might be some others ended up looking at him, but Vegas is definitely one now that's in need of one now that Kingsbury decided to, spur them. So, but yeah, moving on to the big one, and that is Harbaugh to the Chargers. So Harbaugh immediately after, winning a national championship for the Michigan Wolverines in this year's college football season, he is moving on to the NFL. You can make up what you want to make up of it. Maybe he's trying to dodge some stuff with the NCAA. That's some stuff out there saying that maybe he just got tired of the NIL and the transfer portal and whatnot. Maybe he's just ready to get back to the NFL where he had a lot of success being with the 49ers. He had a lot of really good success there. I, for one, am excited about this hire. I think this could actually end up being a pretty good hire. Him getting there with Herbert, I think he could make something out of that team. I think Herbert, finally having a coach of this caliber behind him could really do himself some good. He's already told Keenan Allen, you're going to be a good piece of this team. We want to definitely keep you around. So that's a big thing. He's still a great player. They obviously still have Mike Williams whenever he's actually healthy. He can do some stuff. They got Quentin Johnson there, their former first-round pick from last year. So there's some talent there. They got some good offensive linemen whenever they stay healthy. He brought the defensive coordinator from Michigan along with him to the Chargers, so he's going to be his defensive coordinator there.
Wow.
And I've seen some reports out there that they are looking at trying to maybe potentially go after Saquon Barkley this offseason. That's one of their targets. So that would probably mean Austin Eckler will be gone, but hey, that'll be something. Eckler is coming off a pretty bad year, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, man, I'm excited about it. I think he's going to be a good coach there. What are your thoughts?
I do, man. I think Jim Harbaugh, he's one of those guys wherever he goes, he's going to have success. He's a really good football coach. We've seen it. He's went to the college level, done it. Obviously winning the national championship. Finishing off his career beating. Let's be honest, Michigan real national championship is beating Ohio State 3 years in a row, and he's done that. When they was on a very, very long losing streak to Ohio State. Then, going back even further, taking a 49ers team to back-to-back, was it? I want to say it was 3 years in a row. Yeah,
they were good.
I'm trying to think 3 years in a row. Yes, he took them to 3 straight years in a row to the NFC Championship game. All right, and obviously one of those going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, one of them was the Super Bowl. One of them was the Seahawks. Richard Sherman. Crabtree,
and the other one was Alex Smith when the punter, the punt returner dropped those 2 fumbles against the Giants when it was at home. And he dropped back to back. He dropped it in the fourth quarter, which allowed the Giants to tie the game, and then he dropped it in overtime.
The Giants, what year was that?
2011. That's the second time.
So the Giants went. Oh my God, that's right. Holy crap!
He went to 3 straight NFC Championship games, which is no slouch. One of those years he went to the Super Bowl, ironically enough, beating the Falcons in the NFC Championship game when it were down like 24-10 or something. Yeah. They came back with Colin Kaepernick and playing that Super Bowl, and then the following year, yes, against the Seahawks. So he has had a lot of success with a lot of different quarterbacks. I would say this is the first time that we're probably giving Jim Harbaugh a top, what you want to say, at least 7 quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
I would probably give Herbert that type of
The
respect.
potential is really high there if he can unlock some stuff in Herbert like that. The potential is really high.
Yes, I agree. Like he's had Alex Smith and he had Colin Kaepernick. At the times, he made it work in his system. Those guys were really good quarterbacks at the time. But now he's got a guy that's a premier guy, regardless of wherever he's playing. And to have a guy like that on Justin Herbert with the offensive weapons, man, Harbaugh gonna come in and pin up points. And then he's already in the NFL Dynasty League right now. He's there in there with the Chiefs. So if somebody that's able to come in instantly and be able to threaten them, this would be a good team to really be able to do that.
Yeah.
And I think Harbaugh has the capabilities of being able to do that with the Chargers.
For sure. Yeah, I'm excited to see how it works out, man. It should be a pretty good. I think it'll work out to end up being a pretty good hire. I don't foresee this to be another Urban Meyer to Jacksonville situation where
I don't see that either.
Crap just hits the fan and nothing goes right. Harbaugh's not that kind of guy. I think Harbaugh's a stand-up dude. I like what I've seen from him, and I think we see him do some pretty successful things here. So, yeah. Well, hey, that's all we had here. I mean, did you have anything else you wanted to kind of hit on here before we end the show?
Yes. A lot of the things we've seen so far throughout the NBA, the last few weeks, will probably just this past week.
High-scoring games.
Very high-scoring games. We've seen Luka Doncic drop 73 on the Atlanta Hawks. Then turn back around, we see that Steph Curry drop 60, but he came up with an L in that one. So
Karl-Anthony Towns had like 60-something the other day. Devin Booker had 60-something. Like it's
been nuts. Again, we are living in an NBA league where defense is non-existent. And I am still sticking with that one, man.
How much have you been watching? You've been starting to pick up on something lately. I watched that Lakers Celtics game the other day.
I did see that. Obviously, Anthony Davis and LeBron James didn't play. Came in, and Austin Reeves played phenomenal. I mean, I guess
love Austin Reeves.
Some of those Celtic starters, man. I mean, that's crazy, dude. Yeah, he's a baller, dude.
Austin,
he's a baller, man. Like I like him. But I'm gonna say this. Very surprisingly, now going back into the NBA season, keeping my eyes up on a lot of these guys up so far. Mm-hmm. Seeing the Clippers 32-15 right now.
I think this might be the first year I start putting a little bit more respect on them.
Boy, them boys look good.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the year they stop being the Clippers. Like the Clippers that we joke about. We're like, okay, yeah, we see a good record here, but it's the Clippers. I think this might be a good team.
Made me mad a little bit because I'm sick of seeing it. I see it a lot, sadly. Well, not necessarily a lot, but I've seen it enough in the past few years to be done with it. Aiden Griffin, head coach of the Bucks, gets let. He is the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, and he gets let. He gets fired. But Doc Rivers, like what in the world? Like,
and now Doc Rivers is going to be coaching the All-Star game.
See that pisses me off. And because I also know that All-Star coaches get a lump sum.
Yeah, he said he's going to give it to him. He said he's going to give it to him.
Okay, that's respect. Respect.
That is respect. Yeah, from Doc Rivers, that's good respect.
Respect to Doc Rivers. But see, that's the thing, though. All right, Tyler. Boy, I don't even know where to start. Like, why is Doc?
They were saying there was like the team chemistry or the locker room wasn't behind him anymore, some stuff like that.
You're the number 1 seed.
I understand that, but like, I don't know. I'm not trying to make excuses by any means. So don't think I'm coming to the defense of the Bucks here. I'm just saying this is what I'd at least heard or read. And by the way, since we've been on this podcast, Joel Embiid has underwent some meniscus repair, and the timetable for him to come back is it isn't out there yet. So. Surprise, Joel Embiid with knee problems.
Quick thoughts. What you think about the 65 game minimum limit you have to play to be acknowledged for end of the year awards?
For any end of the year awards now?
Mm-hmm. You have to play at least 65 games.
I mean, I think it forces people to play more. I like that.
I do like that. I think
I
that
like
should be.
that. I mean, there's too much resting going on. They understand that it's a problem in the NBA. There's too much,
It is.
game management or what do you want to call it? What is it they call it?
Yeah.
Game load management,
Oh,
and it screws the customer up, screws the consumer over. So you pay all that money to go see, who Kawhi play or whoever it is, and not even playing. So I don't know.
and I'm about to say, isn't that the point? Like I know we can't necessarily put them in the same realm as people that actually work jobs, but
Yeah,
that's your job.
that's your job.
Getting paid to what?
Yeah,
Your job. Like, and I know these guys going to be like, well, it's my health, it's my body. Like, okay, yes, I understand that, but so is it the other people that work. So it is their health, is their body. They ain't got to work, but they ain't necessarily got to get paid. If you don't want to work, you ain't got to get paid either. So, like, it's pros and cons to that. Like, you have to be able to play in these games, man. These people are paying this type of money. And it's not necessarily only so much about the fans, but these higher executives, these general managers that's willing to trusting you to pay you this type of money for you to come to their team to help have their team be successful. If you're not available, how are you helping me be successful? How in the world am I going to be able to make a playoffs or make a run towards a championship if you're not even playing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
so, I like it though. I like the 65 game thing.
Me too.
I'll definitely start paying attention more. I'm actually trying to tune into some here this week if I can. So to keep up with it. But and I was keeping up with didn't watch any of it, but I was keeping up with it. The Hawks and the Warriors game you were talking about. 60-point game from Steph, and then DeJounte sends it. Yeah, DeJounte Murray's been clutch for the Hawks this year. I mean, he's just been making
they're about to trade him
potentially. And if they trade him, they better get back as much as they gave up for him or more.
That's right. You're right.
That's stupid if not. So I know that they've talked about trades. I think the Lakers have been in talks with it, but if they trade for him, they're going to give away like Austin Reeves and Rui Hachimura and some picks or something like that. And at the end of the day, I mean, it could be worth it. I don't know. I like Austin Reeves though, like I said. So
yeah,
but yeah,
it's gonna be good. I'm actually pretty excited for this NBA season. I've been I looked at the standings. I saw a lot of different teams. Seeing the Minnesota Timberwolves, they're at the top of the Western Conference. Seeing some new fresh faces and new stars.
All-Star weekend. That's coming up real soon.
When is it and where is it going to be?
Let's take a look. I think it's going to be in Indiana.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Because they built the courts at the airport for it. You're right. It's going to be in Indiana. That's right.
Yeah, All-Star weekend. That will be February 16th or February 18th. And then, of course, that means trade deadline's coming up. So,
boy. Yes,
we'll
sir.
see what happens. That's going to be a topic for upcoming weeks for sure. So,
it's going to be good.
All right. Any other last thoughts here?
No, man, excited, man. Just keeping up with all the sports. We got Super Bowl next week. I can't wait, man. Can't wait for the Super Bowl. I'm excited.
For sure. All right. Hey, well, thank you to all of our people that tuned into the live stream today. If you're out there listening to the podcast, thank you for listening to that. For all of y'all that are just kind of seeing this on your feed, we're out there on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere podcasts are located. That's the T&T Podcast. If you want to support the show, just click in the description of the podcast, go into the link tree, and there's different ways you can show support. Or you could just follow us on X or really any of our social media platforms, and we'd really appreciate it. So thank you guys once again for listening. And as always, we'll see you next time.
Boom, boom.